Greetings, greetings, Cosmic. Greetings coming to grace. I'm doing pretty good, man. How everyone doing?
Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, I'm doing okay so far. Just talking to Grace about the diet. You know, she's on a diet now and she's adding more fruits, vegetables, and beans, cooking in coconut milk, you know. So yes, Empress, I'm gonna send it again.
Yes, definitely. Gut health is important. That's where it starts, you know.
Yeah, there's so many things regarding the health that us as a people need to understand. And you see, they're pumping so much of this GMO foods into our stores, into our food stores, and it's contributing to the sicknesses that we are going through as a people. If you go up to the hospitals, I mean, I bet all of the sickness these people have, it's coming back down to the same thing, the foods. The foods. You see what I'm saying? So when the Bible tells us how to eat, people will say, oh, the Bible is this and man-made or whatever. But okay, let's say it's man-made. Does it negate the fact that the things that are documented there are real? The information is real, you know, telling you what to put in your body and what not to put in your body. See, the problem is people do not know what some of these foods are doing to them. And this is why they can pump and put anything inside of their systems, not realizing that, hey, you're feeding the bacteria. There's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria. You're feeding the bacteria that is destroying you. You see what I'm saying? So it's important for us to understand what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
Because
absolutely. And also, I think one thing that we overlook oftentimes is that energy is transferable too. And, if we're eating the right food, grow energy food such as the fruits and vegetable, it's growing food. So therefore, it grows the cells in our body. But when we eat other, foods which GMO are not, and even some of the animals too, you remember that they're going through stress too, and that is also transferable. And that again manifests in how we interact with each other oftentimes and not knowing.
and not yeah, that's a good point. And in regards to even the animals, guess what? The people, they have changed the diets of the animals, because when you look into cattle, when you would eat like your cows and your goats and so forth, those animals would naturally eat grass. No, they're eating grains. So there's a change in the diet. So there's a change in the acid. Oh, she's finally here. Oh no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that energy is still transferable and it reaches us too, and then it then manifests in how we interact with each other, in how we feel and how we think and process things.
Exactly, you know, because the scripture says the life of the flesh is in the blood. And this is why you see when you do a blood test, everything that is there, you can actually find it in the blood by doing a blood test. So if we're not mindful of the things that we're putting into our systems, then it's just going to keep destroying us. Matter of fact, we are going to keep destroying ourselves, because it's not that people don't know. It's not that people don't know. There are tons of information all over, but we just don't care. And this is why they can give us, you know, all these medical facilities and whatever, the health cards to do whatever. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we're still paying for our own destruction, our own demise. So when are we going to when are we going to come to the consciousness of the life that we're actually living? Shalom, silent intellect. Would you like to come up? Or you just want to stay and observe for a while? Yeah. You know, we have to pay attention to these things and try to make the changes that we need to make to our systems, because like I said, the food is very, very important. Fasting also is very important, because like I said, demons manifest themselves as parasites, and this is something that a lot of people do not know. Not right now, I'm at the land chopping out some bush. Okay, no
So
problem, silent
coming to,
intellect, that's
coming to
okay.
grace, how the new diet, what have you observed, noticed, and even feel in your new diet?
Well, see, I changed meat in my baby's diet. We're not eating any dairy, any meat. I pretty much have cut off almost everything. But from what I've noticed, not only in myself but him, um, at first I got a reaction out of him. I would say that because of like the purging process he went through, where he started to throw a little bit more fits, cry a little bit more, be a lot more aggravated. But now, long as he getting his way, he's pretty calm. Like he's actually like paying attention a little bit more. He's actually like knowing how to communicate better and all of that. So personally, I feel like the diet has a lot to do with attitude. It has a lot to do with oh shoot. I'm sorry. It has a lot to do with attitude. It has a lot to do with how you think, how you function. I think the diet pretty much has a lot to do with everything right now.
Yeah, Empress, I'm seeing it. I'm sending you the invite. I think maybe you're not seeing it. You're not getting it, but I'm sending you. Yes, Grace, as you said, the diet is everything, and this is what I think a few weeks ago we talked about this to say pumping the real education in the people, because at the end of the day, they're trying to give us the Chinese foods that are cheaper, and everyone is going to buy what is cheaper, but people are not paying attention to, hey, you're spending cheaper on foods now, and then you're saving only to go back in your latter days to take out your life savings, to go back to the hospitals to pay doctor bills and all of these sicknesses. Then why don't we just avoid the problem from initial and just go straight to eat what things we should be putting into our bodies, into our systems? People do not want to suffer the discipline of change. We just want to talk about, oh, boy, I would like to eat healthy, I would like to eat more food, but we're not doing it. It's just theory. It's just talking. You see what I'm saying? When
Yes,
you
yes, Cosmic. But remember, too, part of this is psychological. Where coming up even as an infant, we have been introduced to eating the chicken leg and all of that, giving baby the chicken bone, so working on gum or whatever. So it's a psychological. So it's not just from one aspect. It starts really, it's a multifaceted approach that has to be taken to really do that cleansing and being more connected.
And that's a good point, because that's the very subject that we're up on right now, because we want to talk about how we can come together, how we can work together as a body, as a collective group of people, despite the different beliefs that we may have, because that is one of the things. We are so separated in so many different ways that it's like people only focus on religion. Oh, once they hear about Bible, oh, religion, that divides us. Oh, really? Look how many we are divided on so many levels that have nothing to do with the Bible. Even the foods we eat, we are divided by that. You guys want to go to the fast food place? Okay, we just want to eat natural. We want to go to some okay, then put it this way, to go to some Rasta place where they cook just natural foods in coconut milk. How many people are going to go there to hang out, to have a meal? You see what I'm saying? It's just a handful. And it's the same thing with the food that we're giving out right now. How many people are going to come for this feeding? How many people are going to come to break this type of bread with us? They don't want it. So that's a form of separation as well. And it has nothing to do with the Bible. It's just the consciousness of life that people are not there yet. And the thing is, they want things to happen to them first before they can make the change. Come on, you can look around and see, hey, go to the hospitals. All of those people, where they call them sugar, diabetes, this one, that one, all of it is going to go back to the foods that they're eating. And when you look at even things on the internet, when people do cleansing, you notice people will do blood cleansing, colon cleansing, mucus cleansing, but one cleanse that you hardly hear people do is what?
Mind cleansing.
No, I'm still dealing with the body. I'm still
Okay.
dealing with demons.
Okay.
Parasite cleanse. You see what I'm saying? How many people are trying to deal with parasite cleansing? There's so many different ways. Parasites and worms. These things are demons. Okay, let's look at agriculture. I'm just gonna go to animals or plants first. When you plant a certain crop like tomatoes and whatever plants, right? You have like the bush chink and the other insect. Once they start to suck on those plants, it doesn't matter how much you fertilize them. It doesn't matter how much food you give to those plants. It will never look a certain way. It will never. How can I say? It won't be healthy. You see what I'm saying? So it's with the animals. Have you ever seen ticks on a cow? When there are ticks on a cow, it doesn't matter how much feed the cow is getting. It doesn't matter how pure the water is. The cow cannot gain weight. The cow cannot maintain a healthy look. So these things are out there for us to see, the invisible. So when we have these same parasites, because the parasites are not going to be outside of us, like on the cows, you can see the ticks, you can pick them off. It's going to be inside of us. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter how healthy you're eating, how often you're eating, if you're not cleaning these things. Remember when we were children, at least once a year, we would get, every time we are going back to school, when the summer holidays coming to an end and we're gonna go back to school in September, our grandparents would worm us out. You guys remember that? I don't know if you've been through it, Gary, but maybe Empress. Yes. We used to get worm out to go back to school, so at least once a year. So look at it right now. How many of us are deworming or doing parasite cleansing? How many of us
It,
are even giving our children these things? Go ahead, Empress.
yes, it's very true. I remember it being twice a year, after
Two
Christmas and
times a
after
year,
the
yes.
holiday. And even the other day, I was saying it to myself that we didn't go very long without a cleansing of the parasite, all of the bush them, you drink up the bush them, and all of these things. And now I find myself needing to go back there because when you get old and life gets in the way, sometimes people put on things what they never put on, you know?
Right, right. So is us now who are aware of these things, and I mean we're living in the age of information now. So you cannot say you don't know what herbs to use, or even if you don't want to use herbs, you can even go to the pharmacy to get their worm out medicines, deworming medicines and stuff like that. That at least you can take that from them. You see what I'm saying? So you have no excuse to not doing a parasite cleanse or not doing it to your children, especially the children. A lot of these children, they're addicted to sugar. Right now, what I'm seeing in the homes, I'm telling you, like some 3-year-old, for those little children, as they wake up in the mornings, they have a chips in their hand before breakfast, before anything else. They wake up with the chips in the mornings, and I'm saying this is the thing about a lot of these parents. They're just buying a bunch of snacks. We didn't grow up on these things. A lot of these parents who are doing it did not grow up that way. We grew up on things like porridge, whether cornmeal porridge, banana porridge, things of that nature. We didn't grow up feeding from supermarkets. So how did we becoming parent adapted to that style? And this is also part of the what you call it, when the home is divided, because we grew up with a lot of uncles and aunts and those type of people. So guess what? If the mother or the father is not there, the grandmother might be there to cook or prepare, look over the children. Somebody is going to be in the home that is responsible. Today, everybody is branching off, and guess what? The more they branch off, it's just the parent and the child, or the parents and the child. They don't have the help, so even mannerism has gone out the door. Because when you were growing up with your aunts and uncles, you would have to be respectful to them. So if you say certain things are behaving a certain way, they could correct you until your parents get home. We divided the home, and now we become weaker as a family structure. So on so many levels, this what they call financial thing that we think we have right now is destroying us. It's diminishing the structure of the family so much. So guess what? You don't have anybody to cook for the children while you're at work or whatever. So you buy a bunch of snacks to say, okay, you can eat this and this until I get home. But what is it doing for the child? A lot of this is why you see some of them, they keep grinding their teeth at night. It's the worm in them. It's the sugar that's causing that. You grinding teeth. Oh, you know what I mean? It's the sugar doing that to them. So we need to go back to taking care of our bodies. We need to cleanse our systems from parasites, worms, whatever, parasitic worms, whatever it is. We need to go back to knowing the herbs. You see what I'm saying? One of the things, especially with the intestine, when it comes down to the intestine, in the intestine, the first thing you want to put in it in the mornings is a fruit. So if you wake up, if you can find a banana to eat, if you can find I'm echoing.
A what?
Somebody said I'm echoing. Hold on,
Let me.
am I echoing? Okay.
It might be them because you don't sound like you echoing to me. I don't know about everybody else.
Okay, all right, Lovelin. Don't maximize your volume. Put it at 99, or don't maximize it and see if it's still echoing, because sometimes your volume is max, it echoes back. So take it off the maximum and see if I'm still echoing. Just press the volume down one time or two. Gary, I'm not echoing to you, our Empress, right?
No, you're not.
Okay, Lovelin, maybe is your volume is max and it needs to turn on. So she says yes, deworming is of great importance. right? So yeah, we need to go back to it. So what I'm saying is, with the intestine, the first thing we were taught to just go and have your tea and stuff like that, breakfast, whatever fried stuff for breakfast. That's what we normally have, or some bread and whatever. But when you really look into your system, the first thing you want to put inside of it is fruits, because you're gonna help also to do what? Get rid of the residues from what you had last night. So you had your dinner yesterday evening and whatever. This morning you wake up, the first thing you want to put inside you is fruit. And you drink a glass of water. That's going to make you go to the bathroom. You're getting rid of the residues. So this is how we should treat our systems. Water, yeah, water. And when you're dealing with water now, if you guys have like banana trees, when you chop the banana, you can dig the inside out to a certain depth and cover it with the banana leaf and let it stay for a while. It's gonna produce a very pure water. It's very good. We did it the other day. I didn't make a video of it though, but it was good. Some people say it tastes a certain way, but it doesn't taste any way different. It just tastes, you know. It doesn't taste any stainy way or anything like that. But these are things that we need to know about our systems, how to take care of it, right? So some of the things we can use to go against the parasites are fern. You guys know fern. I think you guys have it everywhere, right? You can infuse the fern leaf. You just get a fern leaf. You pour the water on it. You pour the water on it and let it sit for a few minutes, 10-15 minutes, and you drink you drink it like that. The next thing is pumpkin seeds. You dry the pumpkin seeds, you ground them out, and you soak it in the coconut water. Coconut water is very good, The coconut is very, very good when you're dealing with health. Is a very good thing to do. And people who have a certain worm, what they call it, pinworms and so forth, the coconut oil is very good to use. You get up in the morning, you take a spoonful of the coconut oil, and you can use some to rub down there. You know where the pinworms show up, right? Or do I have to say it? I guess you guys get the picture. So in the mornings, you can take a teaspoon of the coconut oil, and in the night when you're going to bed, you just get some of the coconut oil and you rub it around there. That's good for that. Most of the herbs that when you're dealing with parasite cleanse, most of the herbs you soak it in the coconut water. So even the plantain leaves, you can take plantain leaf as well and you soak it in the coconut water and you drink it. The next thing that is very good for parasite is what? Papaya seed. Papaya seeds and the milk from the young papaya is very good to use. So you don't chew the seeds though. When you get the seeds from the papaya, you don't chew them, you just swallow. You guys understand that? So you can do 5 days of papaya seed. And if you have bentonite clay, also you can add that to it. So those things are very good. Somebody gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm listening.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
never heard about papaya seed.
But what you do need to say though, because people who are doing parasites cleanse, especially if you haven't done them in years, it's best to get a binder, some form of binder, whether it's like
Get a
charcoal
what?
powder,
Get a
huh?
what? Get a
A
what?
binder.
What is a binder?
Yes, a binder. Something that actually like grabs the worms and pull them out, because there are larger worms that are going to hold inside of your gut longer than the other worms, and they're having babies. So you have to make sure that you actually are grabbing the eggs and pushing them out. Just doing a regular cleanse with no binder can be pointless as well, especially if you're not doing them on a regular.
Well,
What
that's
should be
why
a
I was
binder?
talking about the coconut oil, because what happened is that there are some that does not survive outside of the host. You see what I'm saying? But what happened is the eggs do survive outside. So when I was telling you to use the coconut oil at night, because the pinworms, they like show up at night. You see what I'm saying? So the coconut oil is what is going to help you with the eggs that comes up around the rectum area. You understand what I'm saying? But as for the binder that you suggest, yeah, that's a good suggestion. I don't know what it is. I've never heard about it, but yeah, that's a good suggestion to help, you know.
Charcoal, you know, is a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, yeah, charcoal too. Charcoal is good to use for in cleansing. Charcoal is so good on so many different levels. Cleansing in general. The charcoal, the white rum, man, it's very good.
That's what they suggest when you are deworming your kids. They suggest that you give them small amounts of bamboo charcoal and allow them to drink that in their water and stuff, and it's going to pull everything out, the rest of it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Charcoal is good for cleaning the system. That's good. But yeah, like I was saying though, the young papaya, the milk from the young papaya, and even the tree, it carries a certain milk. It's those things are good for cleaning the system. So what I'm saying is, we as parents now should go back into deworming our, give a parasite cleanse to our children at least twice a year, and also us need to do it too, especially with the madness going on with the foods, because a lot of us eat meat, we eat the flesh of animals, right? And like I said, they've changed the digestive the system of the feeding structure of the animals, because animals that would only eat the grass are now eating grains. So even though the grains are they're made up of grass and so forth, guess what? It's still different. So the pH is going to be different in the animals. So an animal that, like a cow, for example, would just eat grass, their pH would be on a certain level. Now that you add grains, the pH is going to be different. So it's going to become more acidic. So we have to go back to understanding these things and be doing them, because the whole point of knowledge is to do what? Is to perform the knowledge. And performing the knowledge is wisdom. It doesn't make sense to know a bunch of things, but at the end of the day, you are not, what they say, practice what you preach. You're not practicing what you're preaching. So the main thing for us to do is to go back to the basic diet, the basic ways of eating, the basic laws of eating. So we have to stop eating what? Unclean foods. When you go into certain animals, the pork, the shrimp, the lobster, and talking about worms, pork, you get a lot of worms from it. Empress, you remember with your friend? Yeah, go ahead, Empress.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when a friend of mine got sick from the eating of some contaminated pork. And the thing about it, when you have worms and things like that, it drives your cravings. You find yourself desiring certain kind of food, like you want this, you have this craving for this particular food. Sometimes it's really the parasite that is in you that is driving you, and your gut is like your first brain, right? So a lot of your instincts, a lot of your decisions really come from your gut, and these things can impede your decision making processes.
Right, right. Lovelyn says clove as well, and that's true. Clove, ginger, turmeric, and those type of things, they are good to fight against certain worms. A garlic, they're good to fight against certain worms in the system, certain parasites. But then when it comes down to certain other things, it's gonna take more. You know, like tapeworms, and this is why you see a lot of people you see who are, what you call it, anemic with the blood, and people who are fatigued, always tired or drained. It's really the tapeworm doing that to them. And this is why you see, when it comes to healing, the main thing you have to put in your system is what? Iron. Iron. Iron, because that's what it, just like I mentioned about the bush chink on your tomato plants and whatever plants, it's sucking that life out of it. You need iron when these parasites are sucking the life out of, because they're feeding on everything in your diet, everything you put in your system, they're feeding on it. So this is why you have to feed your body iron. But imagine a person who has much parasites in the body, have the tapeworm, and all they eat is fast food or certain madness. What do you think is going to happen to them? So
balance
Right.
the iron with vitamin C as well because that helps your body to absorb it instead of having it just be there and then you have constipation. So it's important to balance all of these elements.
Right, and this is why Judith said she's on the grains and beans type of diet now, fruits and vegetables, and cooking in the coconut milk. You see what I'm saying? That's
But
the
see,
best.
I removed majority, like my grains is mostly like nuts and beans and stuff like that. I don't take in wheat. I have removed everything because I've honestly, truthfully, like even as a child, I've never done a parasite cleanse. My child who's 3 years old now, he's technically never done a parasite cleanse. So I literally have to remove everything that'll be normal for other people. Like some people, they'll go and eat bread and things like that. I have to remove those things completely up until I completely purge everything out because at this point, this is like years of damage. So I have to go about things a little bit stricter than everybody else does.
Yep, yep, yep. And like I said, you know you are getting the knowledge now, so you have the ability to manifest what you know, what you're knowing now, what you're learning now. So that's the greatest thing. And this is why you see people like us when we speak, we don't worry about the views because we know that we're not speaking to the majority, we're speaking to remnants. So guess what? If it's just 5, 10 people we are able to convert, we are okay with that. We don't need a million people who are just listening and not doing anything. We just need people who are willing and ready to make changes. So we're not worried for numbers. We're not doing things for likes. We're just building a spiritual community. Like Yahweh when he was teaching, and they said, "Hey, your mother and your brethren, your brothers, they want you." What did he say to them? He said, "Behold, my mother, behold, my brother. You are my family." And that's what it's going to boil down to in these last days. Your spiritual family, people who are on the same journey, people who are going through the same wilderness. This dietary part of our lives is one aspect of the wilderness that we all have to go through, making that change because what we all gonna be serving the same ideal.
But see, it's kind of normal for you all to be doing these things. Like here, I'm gonna say this. I've never heard anybody do worm cleanses or parasite cleanses here unless they one go on a healthy journey or as a child, like the worms had got so bad as in their kids to where it was actually coming out of them. Like they were seeing the worm coming out of their butt. So it's like until it gets to that point here, it's not normal for people to go and deworm or they feel like they don't have worms or stuff like that. So it's like our diets compared to other places is a whole lot different.
Yeah, but the world is adapting after your country now. So basically, it's the same because like I said, when I'm talking about the grandmothers that their breast is all the way down to their knees. We grew up with those grandmothers, so you had to. It was not optional. It was not democracy. There was no choice. Every September or late August, going back to school, you have to go through it. We used to get the. Any of you guys had the what's it called? Cod liver oil, cod liver pills? Man, Empress, did you ever take the cod liver pill? Did they give that to you?
Oh yes, we had a variety of things, man, including those and the teas. It is, and you were told, you don't leave your house because you already know what's gonna happen, right? I can tell you stories, man, of my younger sibling, man. I tell you, leaving the house, having gotten his worm medicine, I have to come back home. So it's not normal. But you're going back to school healthy, with energy, vibrant, and you can go through. And as soon as holidays come again and they know you've been eating all of these other kind of foods, you're going to get another washout. My great-grandfather, he only ate meat like once a week. But if he's going to consume meat, he's going to do something to flush his system that same week.
Right, and this is why certain meats you don't eat too frequent, like red meat, like beef. Beef is not something you can eat back to back. You see what I'm saying? And this is what the thing about convenience. There are people who have money. They have money, just go and buy whatever. Certain foods you don't eat back to back. You have to give space out your diet. Like you eat it now, you wait another 6 weeks before you eat it. So we have to be mindful of that. And what Grace just mentioned about worms coming out their bodies. Yeah, you would remember back in the days you worm out some children, it coming through the nose, the eyes, the round there, everywhere is just worms crawl. It's just disgusting, but it's good because you have some worm medicines, that chop up the worms like, you're cooking, chopping up, dicing up some things. It's the same way some of these things chop up the worms. It's disgusting coming out, but it's good.
Yeah, to disintegrate it. But yes, following up with what Community Grace said earlier, that's one of my biggest challenge in moving here to the States was the food. Coming from source rich, you can feel the energy in the food. I mean, the other day when I went back to Jamaica, eating the food, I could literally feel the energy. I could feel my body being different when I ate the food comparing to it here. It's so different, And also, as lovers, Lovelin's saying the cod liver oil liquid. Yeah, that's what I remember. My grandmother used to give it me, and yeah, it used to be nasty in taste, but certainly going back to school, you'd feel that energy, you'd feel refreshed, going back to school. So my biggest challenge here in the States has always been the diet. And I guess if you don't know, then people will continue not knowing how to improve and get healthy.
But see, here you have to get organic, and even going organic, if you still are not getting nutrients because Americans go based off size more than if it has enough nutrients in it. Because see, I noticed that when I went to Jamaica, I was saying y'all stuff is a lot smaller. We can't, but they used a lot less than we did and still got the same taste, which was crazy to me. Because I'm like, if we use that small amount of bell pepper or small amount of onion, it's not gonna have a taste. Like you're not gonna even taste it in there. So it's different here, and you have to go to the extreme of trying. And then the higher you actually go to, where it's like, okay, well, I'm literally going off based off nutrients and all of that. It's gonna cost more. Like if you go completely organic, your food is gonna cost more if you just go in there and just get, oh, okay, well, these are regular avocados based off of organic avocados or based off organic bell pepper, or however it is. Everything gets higher the more you try to go close to nature as possible, unless you just go and grow it yourself. But even our soil and stuff is not even, honestly, I feel like it's not even safe to grow in.
Absolutely, Grace. The soil, it seems that it has been poisoned and the nutrients removed from it.
I feel for you guys, and that's so unfortunate because I can tell you a lot of my family members have the same issue. But on the spiritual aspect of things, what I notice as well is I think wherever the spirit of God is, everything can flourish and bloom. And it might have sound like a cliche, but I feel for you guys because a lot of you don't have spaces where you can grow anything anyway. And for those of you that do, y'all have to be competing with all of the chemicals and everything out there, you know? And they make it so that you are heavily reliant on their system. So therefore, yes, there are alternatives that are much healthier for the populace, but they mass produce their things and they are aware of how people buy with their eyes, so they're gonna use these tactics to get people on their side. But in as much as you can do your organic thing, and this is why I think it is bittersweet, because when I'm in the United States, there are certain things that I have access to that I don't readily have access to here. Albeit our things being wonderful, there are certain things that I would like to get that I just can't get my hands on easily. What I have noticed though is that the population in the United States, a lot of you guys are now coming around to the idea of living in a more healthy way, and so to me that is a positive thing.
Yeah, it's good that you guys touched that because last week, was it last week we were talking with I like turtles and jobless, and I was talking about the mark of the beast because we received it, and this is why I was saying if I was to go into exporting, I'm gonna have to stop producing crops the way I do it, and then I have to start to use all of these fertilizer because it's more about the looks, not about the quality of the nutrients they have. So this is part of the mark of the beast. So it's all about looks. And then you have now a lot of women, mostly, when they go to the markets, they just go where the things are big and pretty. I know some women down here when they go to markets, it's just the big sweet potatoes, the big this, the big that, the the big sweet peppers, the big tomatoes, but they lack so many things. You see what I'm saying? And with the fertilizers and everything that they use, it just change the taste. You're not getting that natural. Okay, you guys remember the original tomato, the green inside with the it grows up on the street corners everywhere and it grows enough, but they're small. You know where my friend saw it the other day? In Germany. So they took away our tomatoes that would that's it's not easily it's not easy to die. It's very strong. You'll find it in the roadside and like it goes wild. They have it in Germany.
My great grandfather used to have them. It's hard to find.
They because they took away our seeds and they gave us that modified one. That one they have it in Germany now. Our natural thing they have it in Germany. They have it all over Europe, and we're out here going crazy over there modified crops. You see, it's just it's amazing what they did to us. That's all I can say. But
But
the
it's
worst part,
certain things that are easier to get here that actually makes it a little bit better. Fire is like the nut variety or the herb variety and things like that we're able to get. It's a little bit broader than it is in Jamaica. Fires, y'all have naturally grown ones, but even the ones that are not like native to America, we can easily obtain. So it's certain things we lack in and certain things we pick up in. So it's like you just have to go with how that flow goes.
yeah, but
As
that's the point because then all of us are gonna compromise. It goes back to what I'm saying. If I'm just into natural farming, natural fertilizer. When I say fertilize, I mean like the goat dung, the cow dung, the algae from the water in the rough sea. That for me is fertilizer, not things you buy in the bag at the farm store. So then no, if I want to be part of this, basically I'm gonna have to compromise to say, you know what, I'm gonna abandon the natural way of fertilizing my soil, fertilizing my crops. Because remember, the goat dung is to go back to rejuvenate the soil. So this is why you see after 6 years of farming, you rest the land in the seventh year because the land, the soil has to be rested to do what? To come back to its natural state. The land has to keep its own Sabbath. And this is a part of the spiritual aspect that a lot of us don't do. So yes, it's good to gather the goat dung and so forth. When you go to Germany, when you're in Germany and you're driving along the roadside, what you'll see like coming on in the winter, what they do with the snow is they get all the goat dung, the cow dung, and whatever they place it along both sides because they farm on the street sides and they place it there. So when the spring comes and the snow starts to melt, what you think is gonna happen? All of that cow dung is just gonna seep into the soil and do what? Enriches it. It's gonna rejuvenate the soil. So when it's time for planting, all their crops are gonna be big. They do the natural way of agriculture out there is us that have compromised. But guess what? Everybody's just after the money, so nobody cares about health. I'm getting my money so I can just give you guys put some modified crops on the market. You see, this is why I said we need the real education to be pumped into the people to abandon these things. So go to the natural farmers. Go to the ones that give the small onions, the small peppers, the small this, but it has all the qualities. You see some ginger, they have some big ginger now, monster. But then we have this small ginger, you can barely use them because it's so gingery. Empress, you were gonna say something?
oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, I'm just
Cosmic, just to reiterate something you have said earlier, about, the Bible, for what it is definitely a guide for us to be in synchronicity with nature, with each other, and certainly with the greater being. So when it speaks about, um, you know, cultivating the land and then giving it time to rest, yes, the land needs time to rest. Just as how we need time to rest because all things are living. It's a living thing.
right. But what happened is they. Oh, go ahead, Gary.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I'm saying what this Western society has done to our minds is that it twists and turn words in the Bible, and then it all seems mythological or just some philosophy that does not make sense. You know, so then you have people now speaking against the Christian belief system and think they're actually speaking against the Bible, not realizing that, hey, you have to separate Christianity from the Bible, because this is what Christianity says, but this is what the Bible says. Two different things. So we are out here trying to let the people know, hey, the thing that you're saying the Bible says is not from the Bible, it's from Christianity. You see what I'm saying? Like I did a video this morning talking about the war in heaven. When you go to Christianity, this war is not going to be on earth. Most people in these different denominations of Christianity, they believe it's not going to be on earth. Even when they see all these nuclear missiles being made, all these rockets being fired, they still believe, and that's how delusional they are. And they know the people who claim that they're conscious, right, trying to prove the Bible wrong, they're speaking against that, not realizing that, why are you even speaking against that? Christianity does not make any sense. So if you're woke, then you take time to look into what you're speaking against. Like, for example, I follow the Bible. That's just my source of consciousness. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you follow Egyptology, if you follow Gilgamesh, if you follow all of these cultures, I'm not going to tell you that your culture is false. You see what I'm saying? It's your culture. I'm not going to invalidate everything that you're saying. I just know that, okay, this is what I believe. I can understand why you believe what you believe. But I'm not just going to go and condemn, oh, I believe the Bible and everything else is false. No, you don't do that. So take time out to understand something before you try to condemn it, like all the way, like, oh, the Bible is mythological. Then they start to make some jokes about it. Like, that's your way of proving that you're woke? That's your way of proving that you're conscious? No, when you're conscious, guess what? You harmonize with all things. You're not
Absolutely.
trying to prove this thing wrong or this thing bad or this thing. No, you start to harmonize. Yes, you can identify that, okay, I see what you're saying. You might not be in agreement, but I can understand what you're saying and why you say what you say. You see what I'm saying? But you can harmonize with people. And this is going to go into what we're going to talk about today with the relationships with men and women. You see what I'm saying? What do we do now that we identify all these problems that we talked about last week and beyond? What is our next move? What do we do as a people? What is our solution to what's going on? What are your thoughts? Where do we go from here as a people? We see what is going on in the world. We see where the economy is going. We see where the powers of the world is structured. We see where they're heading. Now, what do we do as a people?
It is though. I feel like it's easy to ask that question, but until we literally have a community where people are going to be able to stay grounded in without familiar temptation and actually having that type of person in the background still pushing you and telling you, okay, well, this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what we aiming for. This is our goal. People are going to continue to fail because a person can sit here and say all day long, all right, okay, well, this is what I'm striving for. This is what I want. But being in the world when you're actually trapped and you literally have not left it, whether I'm speaking on physically, because spiritually you can try to leave something and it still draws you back physically. So you can still go through that process and still not be able to actually completely come out of it. So until there's a literal community where somebody can go to and they're completely removing themselves from the norm, it's going to be hard to just say that.
Yeah, the Empress.
Thing though is that nothing happens overnight. And I was having a conversation with my sister the other day where I was saying to her what I found in my own experience in life is when it's good to have a plan. It's good to start with a foundation of a plan and to know what your steps are going to be. But what I realize is that God works in such a way that if I'm at the edge of a cliff and it takes a leap of faith to do something, when I start stepping out, then the road is paved before me as I step. Meaning, each step that I take towards a particular goal that I'm making, I may not know the hows or the ins and the outs, and not even have a support system set up. But when I am in that state of mind where, okay, I don't know where this is going or how it's going to work, but this is what I want to do, and I start doing it, then the opportunities come, then the experience unfolds. Now it's not always good. What I realize is life is built on, I observed myself in one day the other day, and I realized that there are peaks and valleys throughout the day. And so you have started it very good, and maybe you have a bad moment and it goes all over the place, and you cannot do a general assessment of how that day was and say it was overall good. I think life is kind of like that. So for me, I know we do need a community. We already started to do that. I'm very hopeful because I'm seeing people doing that. What you can do in your own environment, you do in your own environment. But if you're not noticing by now, like minds always attracted to each other. So when you're doing the things that are aligning you on a certain frequency, you will naturally start attracting people and circumstances that will help you, even if you have to go through a bit of struggle here or there. But overall, the flow will be natural. And that's what I find myself doing. When I overthink things too much is when things get complicated.
I think it's easy to say that there. I think it's easy to find more like minded people there because even people here that so called think that they're like minded, they're still adapted to the world. They still of the world. So it's easier to say that in other countries, but it's a lot harder to say that and actually hold a person to a standard in America unless they, for example, me, I don't necessarily have to go out and work. I don't necessarily have to surround myself with people. So it's a lot easier for me now. But when it was like, okay, I had to go to work, I had to do this, I had to do that, that's a lot more temptations. And the more you try to do something, it's when temptation come to you and they begin to actually throw things your way of, oh, okay, I all of a sudden got this major job, like promotion, or it's certain things that get thrown your way when you try to change to actually keep you in the rat race. So it's easy in other places than it is here.
Lovelyn says, I'd still encourage success can take time and failure is a part of the process. Lynn, would you like to come up where you can be, part of this dialogue rather than just be texted? What you said in your first message, Grace, about the community, I don't believe in community as in that we need to be all in one place because that would be easy for them to destroy us. You see what I'm saying? I believe that the Most High is going to prepare a little sanctuary. He is going to be a little sanctuary to us. So you are there in Memphis. Guess what? He's going to be a little sanctuary where you are. So probably you, your children, or a few other brothers and sisters who are close to you. You see what I'm saying? That's going to be a sanctuary. Gary is wherever he is. That's going to be a sanctuary. Empress is where she is. That's going to be a sanctuary. So I believe that this is how, because we're scattered all over. There's no such thing as we're going to come together in one
Well, I don't
community.
think we're supposed to come together in one place. That's not even logical. It's as many of it is scattered all over the world. It's not logical to come in one particular place. I'm saying communities. I'm saying plural. I'm saying like even if it's one in Jamaica and there's one here in Memphis and there's one there in Colorado, everybody still have the same thought process and function and all of that. It's different. I'm not saying that we should just all be in one place so they can just come pick us up when they get ready. That's not what I'm saying.
Right. So the first
Everyone there?
spiritually, we
I didn't
are.
hear that. Could you start over? I think your connection broke for a second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh the rain just start coming. The scripture that says, "Come out of her, my people." That's the last thing people want to do. They have to see the economic system fail. They have to see the banking system fail. They have to see this Babylon be destroyed, and even then, they still won't believe. That's how much. That's the pedestal where they put this society or this system on. Where at the end of the day, they will never give up what they have. They will not give up what they have to do something that serves a greater purpose. And this is the thing. This is why people say, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. People want to be riding with the ship until the ship sinks. Even when they see that there's a little hole in the ship and it's going to sink eventually, they still won't get off board until it's under the water. That's when they want to look to something different. And this is why it's hard. This is why I said, we are not for the majority. We are for remnants. It's just going to be a handful of us. And the presence of God is just going to be wherever you are. That's the sanctuary that He's providing for each of us. You are going to become the walking presence of God. When destruction was happening to Egypt, when the fire and all of this, the hailstone coming down, Moses was walking there. Nothing touched him. He became the what? Walking presence of God. And it's the same thing that's going to be happening today, because guess what? Destruction is going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. But some of us are just going to be sanctified, where there's a spirit there with us, inhabiting us, preventing us from destruction. Just like, for example, when you go to Egypt, when the angel of death was coming, right? Anywhere they saw the blood and the doorpost, death would not touch these people as long as they were in that house. No, the spiritual house today is the word of God. So once you're covered under the word, guess what? When death and destruction is passing, it's not going to touch you. You're gonna have that hedge of protection around you. So this is what I mean when I said you become the presence of God. There's a sanctuary that He's building inside of you, around you, the hedge of protection. And that's what the last days is going to be about. So first we have to get out. Somebody is requesting. Let me see. Dancing legend, okay, Chaka. Okay, let me accept this see, because this brother's name sounds weird. The Lord is my rock. Yeah, Shalom, the Lord is my rock. Welcome to the platform. I guess you've been following the conversation, so I guess you have something you'd want to add. The Lord is my rock? Okay, he's not. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is we have to come out of her, my people. I'm trying to get into this Bible app, but this thing is, I think it's Revelation 18 or 17. We have to spiritually get out of this mindset where we're so dependent on America. We're so dependent on the society that we live in. The problem is most people want to have one foot in, one foot out. Nobody wants to. And guess what? A lot of like rich people, I see they're doing things. You know what they're doing? Especially in COVID time, a lot of the doctors, the Jamaican doctors and lawyers, these people who go to live in America, when
They
COVID came,
acquired land.
huh?
They acquired land and they're making bunkers and doing things to prepare themselves.
Yeah, a lot of them, they came back home and they bought a lot of lands. They got the younger guys to work on their farms for them. And then when things balanced back, they went back abroad to work. So guess what? They still have people there that here they can pay to maintain their farm. So when the time of destruction is coming, they can just move and they have everything set. But then for other people, what are we really doing? A lot of us don't want to get into this agriculture thing. We don't want to prepare lands or do anything. We just want to rely on supermarket. When destruction comes, the first thing that happens is what? Is they close off the wharves, they close off the warehouses. It's not that the foods are not there. It's just going to be closed off because they're going to have to protect it for a certain group of people that they consider the more important set of people. So what are we doing for each other? What are we doing for us? That's the question. What are we doing? How are we going to help ourselves? Just sit back and not do anything? We still have faith to work. We still go out and work. Some of us, we're sick, we still go to work. Some of us going through this, we still get up. We have all of that power and ability to go to work. This is why we live in a society that is run by two things: fear and desire. You're going to get up, go out of your bed either for fear, or you're going to get up out of your bed either for desire. But either way, it's still the same thing. And fear doesn't look like just a simple thing like that. It's just fear of what? Not having the lights on in your house. Because majority of the time, it's just that we care about what the neighbors think. So guess what? Your utility bill might come up to a high amount that you can hardly clear. But because you don't want your neighbor to see that, oh, no light is on. Maybe her current is cut off. Maybe his current is cut off. You don't want that. So you'll do anything to keep the lights on. But guess what? If the water is gone, your neighbor doesn't have to know. So you don't mind the water being cut off, but the water should be more essential than the light. You see what I'm saying? So we have to let go of this pride that we have. You know, if you can afford solar system in your homes, I mean, for the people who can actually afford it, that's a step that you guys can take. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do it if you can do it, if you can afford it? I understand the people who can't afford the solar system, but for the ones that can do it, why would you not do it? You don't have to. When we talk about off grid, you don't have to go away in the country, in the hills. You can be right where you are and live in an off grid life. We don't have problem with water here. You know what we have problems with? We have a problem with storage of water. How many people have a tank, a black tank on their house? Let's talk about it. How many people? How many tanks you gonna need to really, if you want to say you want to get rid of your water bill? You're gonna have to think about like having at least 6 1,000-gallon tanks. So when it's rainy season now, you can store a lot of water, and you're still using water daily from the rain to do whatever you need to do. But people don't want that. They just want to, it's the tendency of paying the bill. As I say, we grew up in a certain condition. We don't know to break away from it. So it's not that people cannot do what it takes to break away. It's just that they don't have the willingness and the readiness of mind. This is why it says back here again, Revelation 18, it says what? Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. We have to come out of the system spiritually, psycho-spiritually. So no, you don't have to go away in a high mountain to live that life. You go ahead, Gary. You gonna say something, Gary?
No.
Right. So this is where we have to start mentally, because in order for us to build a community, we have to build it here first. But how many people are really willing to take this journey? No, we're not ready for it. A lot of people talking about they want freedom. They don't want freedom. They like this life here. People love Satan, that's the truth, because that life is pleasurable. And they don't, the worst part about it, people don't see it as bondage. Imagine, because of a man being slave to his own desires, he cannot run his house anymore. And they think that's freedom. No, that's bondage. You're a slave. To your urges, you're a slave. And they think that's freedom. You're seeking
The
freedom from.
question is, based off every example in the Bible, nobody's gonna ever completely be ready. It's gonna literally take for everything to crash around them at that very moment, and they have no choice but to pretty much have this massive exodus where they have to move out, where they have to go into this lifestyle, where they have to relearn everything, because nobody is just gonna do it. Well, I won't say nobody, but a lot of them are not just gonna do it.
But even then, Grace, it's not that they want to. It's that fear that Cosmic speak about. That reluctant to detach from their desire. Not having what they're used to. So the change that would be there to say they don't have access to this or to that fear of not having, internet and not having all these things that they have, that's what will drive them to do what they're doing. So it's a more of a fear then. So it's going to be
What
Pretty much like they did with Abraham. Like he was literally building and telling them this is finna happen, this is what is going on. Basically the same thing that everyone is doing now, and everybody still want to do what they're doing.
Well, I think it's necessary for people to continue to do what they're doing. You know why? We're all like wheels in a cog at the end of the day, regardless of whether we're pursuing our own agendas. And the circumstances make the man. So even though a lot of us are making plans and saying what we will do or what we're preparing for, when the circumstances come upon us, then that will show the measure of who we are and how we're able to cope. God will always have a remnant. I remember the scripture that says, consider the ant, thou sluggard. You notice if, for example, you come upon an ant nest, like the other day when I was in my garden and we were trying to get some potatoes up, and the ants were there running like mad. And if when you wet the soil, and not every ant survives. I'm sure tons of them die. They do, but what do? They pick up and they move if they have to move, and they rebuild if they have to rebuild, and life goes on. And that is the nature of life. Life is cyclical. You understand me? So yes, I worry sometimes, but at the same time I realize that worry is unfounded. You just have to do what you can do in your little corner and allow things to unfold the way they must.
Lynn says it's just the same as a lot of people are going to left in the dark. Now, listen, we are speaking about two categories of people. Now, we understand, like I said before, we are not speaking to the majority. We are speaking to the remnants. But the problem is, even the people who you perceive to be remnants are not remnants. Some people are just they're gonna get a calling. Of course, this is why it says it's not about who is called, it's about who is chosen. So people, of course, people are waking up, but guess what? It does not mean anything. Your fire is gonna be ignited and it's just gonna burn out. It's like bamboo fire. You guys see bamboo fire? It blazes up, woof, big, but in 2 seconds, ashes. No
Yeah,
charge.
but then it, with all of what we're speaking now too, is just as how he said, what Christ said, you have to take up the cross and follow him, because at the end of the day, you have to put away your desires to know that, hey, when whatever is happening, you keep that calm. You know that at the end of the day, God is your guide and protector.
Yeah, let me give you an example of something, for example, to show that, okay, somebody sends a request. Like
Yes,
one of
my
the things a
brother.
lot of people have problems with them farming is when them plants in the nursery stage, a lot of them don't understand why them plants keep burn up. The plants, the dew water, you have to get up early in the morning and water it with fresh water to get rid of the dew, because when the sun catch the dew upon your plants in a nursery, it damage the plant. So this is why enough of them plants to come out
Mm,
of nursery stage and them don't know why.
okay. Eat there.
So if they want logic there, you understand?
Gotcha.
Yeah, because
No.
yeah, and these are simple things where by if as Empress said earlier, say observe the sluggard, observe the ant. When you observe the plant, say why do the leaf then they get brown? What happened? I get up and water them. Brother, wash off the dew water, you make some come catchy. When you pass nursery stage, then you can withstand. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
we have similar conversation recently in a cosmic, where we talk about asking questions, and I share with you that you learn more through the observation than through the questioning. Because when you start asking why and the why and the why, you're gonna start try phantom some answer where it don't really make sense. Even try understand it. You
Mm-hmm.
just observe it and appreciate it for what it is and make note of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me make an explain. Me see them a try make mockery of, how them want to say they know a story no real with the animals, so them a try make all them mockery. Let me tell you something, brother. You see, in a time of destruction, animals have more sense than enough of them human here. In the time of natural events, then put it that way there. For example, you will have a cow, jobless, and you want to try bring a cow in the shed. You can't move him. But remember, let me tell you, if storm they out there, even if you don't see the storm yet, the cow they walk straight in there without you, because they not sense the storm before you. So guess
Mm.
what? In the time of the flood, the same thing with Noah. Naturally, the animals are gonna come on to you in the time of destruction or natural disasters. Or just notice it. Even when an animal is sick, strange animal, the animal they come find you, because that is natural in the cosmos. They
Yeah.
respond to that.
And on that point,
Real talk.
you even have a cat, and cat or dog. You have a time when them just go into the bush and go eat grass.
Glass. Me see some people that talk about that one day. Yes,
Yes, yes.
healing remedies naturally. Them just go over there and them know the thing what we find in at that time. It's just we know, you hear them talk about the Bible, do this and that. No man, the society do this too, because as we started the conversation earlier, where we used to talk about where we did talk about the deworming and the
Yes.
parasite cleansing. We used to do that. We grew up with that knowledge. How we depart from us? We adapted to the ways of this society. You understand? So then tell you all type of madness, do this, do that, whatever, and stop deworm, stop parasite cleansing. And then guess what? we keep on eating these bad sugars in the body where they feed the bacteria them and the different hosts them inside of we. And just to make matters worse, so you live a hospital and don't know why you keep on getting these belly cramps,
I
why
think
this
for the
happen, why
feeling
that
of the
happen,
cosmic, the
why your
demons,
backside they itch you
the
so much. No
demons, the
understand.
parasite,
You go ahead, Gary.
the demons when the parasite.
Demons, them don't know that. Even demons have to take on a physical expression. This is why even some people possess and you give them a certain bath or whatever deliverance, you find out that them even pass out something. They'll pass out probably a liquid or an object or something is passed out because it takes on a physical manifestation. And I don't know if any of you guys remember the video which part they went to court one frag out of one woman where sleep with one ex woman man, something like that. Remember that video? You notice the frag was not one of our frags though. That was not a Jamaican frag. If you saw the video, that
Well, you
frag
know,
it was not a frag from here.
when me had to ask Jam, I said, "Ja, how does that happen?" And then Jam let me know it happened. You know, you see some you have people we can you see them know how to project the thought. And you know everything starts as like a wave and then it eventually come by the particle. So just like oh you can this the chicken can sit on the egg and they know how to send that energy. So it starts from space, then liquid, and then that thing form. Just like how with the egg it was only liquid before with the yolk. But after 21 days you see the chicken. So the person will know how to do that. It's like somebody know how to bridge your light. And the same procedure them do. Because I know the same object we see out of like a telephone, a computer, whatever. Our blueprint make it. So it's the same type of thing they do. Because you have people who know how to do that. You know what I mean? They know how to do that.
Ritualists, they call them ritualists, or
Yes, yes,
shaman,
yes,
or
yes,
whatever we call them, you know. You have some
yes.
people at different levels too, you know, because you have some people who tamper with the spirit themselves, you know. Some people tamper with because we know it's a simple thing for rise them up, you know, just go to the grave and feed them white rice. You understand? Fresh white rice and you rise them up, you know. So sometimes you see some people do certain things and feed them, they feed the spirit, them feed the what we call ducky them. You know? Yeah, and then I'm tell you again to you see DNA is a powerful thing when I deal with spirits. With the DNA, brother, that's why I tell people, you know, sometimes you're a person left, all the shit them you have to burn. Because
Oh
there's
gosh.
DNA. Me do a video, you know. If you go up on my profile, you see one video with me pin where I say don't give away old clothes. And I talk about say, yo, your DNA in your clothes. Some people they talk about, but you can't wash it. You think you can wash out the DNA out of clothes? Right? You understand DNA, you know? You can't wash out the DNA. The only thing you can do is make sure you give them new clothes where you never put on. That's the best way. But once you put on it, your DNA is in it. Once they bring that to mingle with the dead, are you that? That's all they need for them, you know.
Cha cha.
What make you think say art? You never hear enough roommate talk about say the girl that take away my underwear or than that man. Waiting them take for the what is in the underwear? What information is in the underwear? And the DNA. You think you can
Yes.
take away you think she can take one new underwear where the girl never wear and she can't possess her? You can't do it, man, because the DNA you know in a hit. Yeah, man. So it's a cool world out there, as my all I can say it's a very cool world, you know, and we have to be aware of certain things, you know, and know who will they get entangled with because I tell us right you know, appear tie up the people them tie up.
It's
Tie up.
just the same way, you know, cosmic. Let's look at it. Gravity. You know, see it. But whether you believe it or not, it exists. And the same way there is about spirits and evil spirits and demons. You might not see them, but that does not mean they don't exist.
Right. Yeah. And it's a matter
Now,
of
when
belief.
as you speak earlier about the parasite and demon, at first I never really see it, you know, because again, you know, see it through the natural eye. But when you really step back and look at it and observe it, it is factual, you know, because again, it sends you to the thoughts of one way or another, just as how, you know, when Peter spoke and Christ said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Never tell Peter to get thee behind him. That spirit that spoke through Peter at that time.
It is so very subtle, and that's why I made mention on how our food cravings are it shows you the control that it has over you. Because when all these parasites are there, you find yourself craving sugar or carbs or something unhealthy in excess, right? And you might just find it as a passing craving, but you don't know the mind control going on behind that. You understand me? So you have to be aware.
Right, and this is why too the other day, you see me make a video where I talk about me prepare the bitterhood before fasting. Because guess what? Me no reach that momentum in my fasting like how some people can just fast couple days. And the next thing too, before me even deal with that, what a lot of people call fast is really on a diet. Listen, when you're fasting, you don't drink tea, you don't drink water, you don't eat foods. So there's no such thing as a Daniel fast, there's no such thing as a Esther fast. There's just fasting. So whether you want to fast for 21 days or whichever way you call it, they call it intermittent fasting. No, this is what society does. They put all of these things out there and try to make it seem, try to add a scripture to it, like Daniel. Daniel was not fasting. Daniel did not want to eat their food, and he said, "You know what? Because the king will kill him, kill and alive the chamberman." He said, "All right, eat these palsy, eat these salads." So Daniel eat the salad. There's no such thing as you're going on a salad fast. You don't go on a vegetable fast or a food fast. You have to get society out of your mind. You're on a diet. If you're eating one time a day, you're on a diet. If you're just drinking tea from 6 to 6, you're on a diet. You're not fasting. This is the hardest thing to get to these people's head. What kind of madness is this? You're fasting until 3 o'clock. What the hell is this? No, but a serious note, Jobless. What is this? Where they get those doctrines from? You're fasting until 3 o'clock. So you get up at 5. And brother, stop the madness, man. Leave father and mother. So if society is a father and mother, leave them and go to the consciousness of the scripture. You're on a diet, you're not on a fast. So yeah, me did go through the bitterwood process because me did have to try to balance back the sugar in the blood, because that will cause, as Empress was saying, it will cause if you have certain cravings and you will think you're actually hungry, not realizing say it's the sugar. So when you go and eat something sweet, you find out that in a full belly, but the sugar sugar it did one. So when I go on the like where me go on a no sugar with my tea, no unsweetened tea, when you just start that process, you find out say when you drink the tea without the sweetening, it make you feel hungry like shortly after, but it's not really hungry, It's a trick that trick the brain. But it's the same thing with the fasting. That's why it's good to start with the bitterhood. If you develop that momentum now, so what I'm going to try to do is to try to see if I can be consistent with at least once every week. Me do it until me develop a momentum now where me can go 2 days.
Twice, yeah.
You understand? Because other day when me go up on the fasting, it was after my midday prayer which part me gain back the strength. You understand? Can me do a night and a day fast. Me start from the night, like last night, I me do it whole day today. So it was after the midday prayer, my strength come to me. Me go move the cow, me go do this, start the things. You understand? So me have to build my system on the fasting because that is the best thing to fight against these demonic components in our system. Now I drank bitterwood and went down a rabbit hole, never again. Coming to Grace says she drank bitterwood and went down a rabbit hole, never again. Yeah, you have to know the amount, because if you put too much of that bark in that water, man, even next week you're not gonna have any taste in your mouth. Don't play with bitterwood, man.
Yeah, you have to be mindful with these things because, when I saw you do the video the other day, remember I was mentioning to you that I've been wanting bitterwood because it's important, because I remember how it's beneficial to the system. You understand me? You go through what you need to go through, but afterwards you feel so rejuvenated.
It's like eating on the old house and building up the new one,
No, she's
You have
I
to go
forgot
through
watch
the
that.
little
I forgot
period.
watch that video Cosmic. I understand what you're talking about with the bitterwood and what coming to Grace experience about it.
She a blame me. She said I did it. I put it in the dang on water. We had it in the fridge and you drank it, so
No, he brought it and said that he was bringing it and he wanted to see was I gonna do it. The deal was I gonna do the duck flower or was I going to do the bitterwood? So I was like, well, I'll do the bitterwood first. That seemed like it's not as bad. So I did it for like 3 days. And this is the thing, again, I'm coming from America. So I didn't fast before then. I didn't do anything to prepare my body for it. So as soon as I did it, it was like my body went into shock and I started having a million and one problems. And so, yeah.
well, welcome to Jamaica.
But your body needed that wake up call, my friend. I want the duck flower as well. I think I can definitely benefit from the duck flower
I did
because
the duck flower days late. I mean, like, I want to say weeks later, but it was a while because I had to recuperate from the bitterwood.
Come, guys, don't leave me in the dark. What was the difference between a duck water and the bitterwood?
the duck flower will pull all the mucus out of you, and you better be prepared for that. I'm telling you, it's like, all right, let me tell you something. Turmeric does that too, but turmeric pales in comparison. You
Yes.
see, because if I need to really pull mucus, I'll just go boil some water, some turmeric, and sip on that, and I'm good. And when that happens, you can't stop the mucus from coming with the turmeric. But you see, duck flower now, oh my God.
Duck flower is
Yeah.
is a is a tree bark or something?
No,
A
it's
flower
a
with a
very
duck.
Huh?
A flower how it have the shape of a duck. I think it's purpley. To a purpley color. Like a whitish purple. But it's shaped like a duck. The flower shaped like a duck.
Gary, me will send you the videos on my profile. I'll send you one of the videos on my profile with the duck flower. Grace, did you do it? You say you did the duck flower, right? Grace, maybe she's not there at the moment. I don't remember if she did it here or when she went back home.
You got to repeat your question. I had walk off to go put Kyrie in the room.
How did it go? Did you do the duck flower here? You said I was when you went back abroad. You
I
did it.
did the duck flower there.
Okay, how was your experience? Tell Gary because Gary does not know about the experience of the duck
Um,
flower.
Here's the thing. I don't think it was as dramatic as people try to make it seem. Um, it has an earthy taste. So when you put it in, like if you do it to where you just blended it in the spring water, it has a real earthy taste. But I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 hours in is when I really started to throw up. But I threw up majority mucus more than food. So and then it's like you going through like where you having sweats. Like basically you feel like you drank poison. It's like you go.
That is why it's good to do it in the early morning. You remember when we started talking, I said to do certain things in the early morning, the first thing in the intestine. So when you're doing such things, you want to do it in the morning where you don't have anything on your stomach because when you're throwing up, you want it to be just liquid. You don't want it to be food particles, you know.
I
But
will say go on a whole like where you're basically cleansing your body maybe a week before. But now that I did it, I really do feel like maybe I should have did the duck flower first and then did the bitterwood. But I should have completely switched my diet before I even started it anyway. So it's a process, but you just learn from it. But all I'm gonna
Yes.
say is if you're gonna do it, best thing to do is to actually like cleanse before you do it and then go into it. It's still gonna be hell, but you have
You're
to
gonna
prepare
be hell.
yourself for it.
well, I have to give her credits because she's brave, you know. She was willing to try all these things, you know. So that's good. She actually did 3 months with us, you
You
know.
know, I appreciate our discussions like this because oftentimes we start out at one point and we go full circle and come back around. And starting out with the whole thing about diet,
And
I'm
come back.
concerned about my son and I really want to do a cleansing. So, Cosmic, we'll have a conversation about some stuff I can use to do that.
Okay, no problem, man. Yeah, man. You just link me and we can discuss that. about herbs and stuff like that. Yeah. So thank you guys again for another good week. And this is what I like. I like when I rather there's a small amount of us and it's very respectful, peaceful, and meaningful and very edifying. I like those types of conversation rather than having a whole bunch of people and just confusion, you know. So I guess all of
True,
us have
true.
gotten something from it and some knowledge about herbs. Jablis, as I realize that you got some as well, some information about herbs and certain things, you know. We all learn something from each other, and that's the good thing. We can learn from each other each week, you know.
That's what it's about, my brother.
Yeah, man, that's a good thing. So thank you guys again for another good week with you guys. You know, so hopefully I guess we're gonna meet Sunday again, right?
Thank you, my brother, for this time and space, you know.
Yeah, man, I hit man, no problem. All right, shalom, guys.
Everyone have a great night,
All right,
great evening.
blessings.
Bye bye.
Blessings.